Yes.
If you take medications, how much do you recommend, how long of a supply do you recommend to put in your pack? Like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month's supply? Everything you can do.
Well, I would say some people have a really hard time getting extra medications. And so when the big one hits, we are going to be isolated possibly for 3 weeks. Okay? It all depends. So you may be in your car, you know, and hopefully you would be able to get home, I don't know. So I think 3 weeks. The only thing I have to deal with is inhaler and some ibuprofen. Some people can't get that extra. Get as much as you can, but make sure also there's a list of medications in your pack so that when you can get any help, you can get some more.
I've had to deal with medications, and when I prepared for emergencies and stuff, I've talked to my doctor about getting extra medication just for that factor.
Right. So you talk to your doctor about getting extra medications for disaster preparedness, and your doctor said yes?
Yes.
The doctor said yes. So it never hurts. You know, you're not going to get a yes unless you ask the question, right? Yes, back here.
It's really, really, what you're saying is really, really true, because that day it hit, that day it hit, I was going to go pick up my medicine, and I dashed as fast as I could after I got gas, because I had an empty tank. I went to Love's to get the medicine, even though it's sitting there in a bag, their computers are down and they can't do a thing because they're started on the head. So I went 3 days without medicine, and it was bad. It was bad. And couldn't pick it up till Monday, luckily.
So luckily you got it. So if you had your gas tank half full, you wouldn't have had to deal with that piece of it, but you still would have had to deal with lungs. The gentleman in the back, you had something to say? You had your hand up?
Yeah. My grandma has this powder that she gave to some members of this church.
Your grandma has what? All right. I can't get all the way back there.
Okay, so if you don't have enough room in your pack, my grandma has this little powder that you can put in the pack. My mom has some at my house, and I use it too. It gets all the grease out of here, and it has your yard smell good. She has different types. And it's all natural. Dry. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it.
Sounds like you've tried that, huh? That's a good idea. So, you know, if we're 3 weeks without outside help, that may also mean 3 weeks where the water supply isn't working and 3 weeks where we don't have any electricity. That's worst case scenario, but guess what? It can happen. So yeah, 3 weeks, I know. We do the best we can do, okay? Now, I have to say this over and over again. These talks, talking about being prepared is not meant to make you go, oh my God, there's no way I can get all that together. If you can get a few of these things together, you're better off now than you were before, right? So take what you can from this. Take what you can from this Shaky Ground publication, which is free, and we have lots more at the chapter, and get yourself more prepared. I have a goal of having every car in Humboldt County have a disaster kit in it, and every house in Humboldt County knowing at least where the flashlights are, and at least how to turn the gas off, and at least have water for their family. Yes?
Is the Shaky Ground online? Is that a
Yes,
PDF
it is.
somewhere?
Yes,
and what's
it
the
is.
website?
Actually, you can. It is humboldt.edu/shakyground. There are thousands of this in circulation as well in the county. So being prepared at home, being prepared in the car, and then also thinking about people. A lot of people were on the way to someplace when this happened. And so if the big one comes up and it's shaking that hard, be aware of whether or not you're in a tsunami hazard zone. Now, right here, if we had had a big earthquake and this was still standing and everything was fine, What should we do if it looked like if there was a tsunami warning? What should we do? We are on higher ground.
Stay put.
Stay put. Do not drive to Eureka. Do not drive inland. We're okay up here. If this church is still standing and we've had that, we're okay up here. All right, yes.
How can you find out if your house is in a tsunami zone?
You can look at the maps and shaky ground.
Page 15.
Yes.
All of McKinleyville is on high ground, right?
Right, right. We're in good shape up here. We have faults. We know that. We felt some shaking. But I do know people who the last time there was a tsunami warning did gather everybody up and go down to 101 and up 299 and just put themselves in harm's way. So we're fine up here. Know where you are. Know where you are. Yes.
In case of an evacuation, I think it's so important that the children especially know where their shoes are in the middle of the night.
Children should know. That's a very good point.
Everybody can't have their shoes by the bed or somewhere. Every night, it's important.
Some kind of hard-soled shoes. I read in a couple of publications that some of the most common injuries after an earthquake in the middle of the night are people's feet being cut. Because things have shattered, they get out of bed, they don't have hard-soled shoes to walk, right there next to them, and they get the feet cut. And it's especially important for the children. That's a very, very good point. Yes?
And hard-soled shoes is not necessarily tennis shoes, because usually it's rubber that's in there, and nails, things like that will go through the shoes.
Yes. I always carry a pair of boots with me in my car. They're a pair of old boots, and I haven't put them on in a long time, but they're there because a lot of us have jobs where we don't wear tennis shoes or we don't wear, we don't wear hard-soled shoes, and we won't know where we find ourselves in a position where we're going to need those. So that's a good point about tennis shoes. I have a pair of slip-on, kind of sandal-like things, but they're hard-soled.
You gotta make sure that they're hard-soled, because
Yeah. You've made the mistake before, I hear. You've made the mistake before. Okay. So some people have asked me to talk a little bit about what the Red Cross does when there's a big earthquake. This one, we were getting prepared to open up a shelter. And then people say, okay, where the shelter's going to be. Like some of you are wondering maybe right now. We can't tell you. And the reason we can't tell you is because we have to get those buildings checked first to make sure they're structurally sound. We can't put you in those buildings if they're not. Maybe it's the Adorni Center, maybe. Maybe it's this place, not that we have an agreement yet with you guys, but there's a lot of maybes, but we don't know yet. Because we have to get the spots checked. And as soon as we find out, then we're going to be letting the radio stations. I mean, weren't those radio stations lifelines?
Yeah.
They were incredible. And we will let those radio stations know where the shelters are. And we accept anybody from anywhere in a shelter. So it doesn't matter if you're in Eureka and you can't get and you live in McKinleyville and you can't get to McKinleyville, come to the Eureka shelter. It doesn't matter. We will help you there. We have trained volunteers. It's going to be chaos at first. Okay? Chaos will reign. We tell all of our volunteers, chaos reigns at the beginning because who has 50 cots set up already? And how long does that take? And how long does it take to go to the storage unit or to the storage trailer and get the cots and then call the restaurants and places that we have agreements with and Costco and other places that will bring us water. It takes a while to make that happen. But what we want to do is get the building so people can get to that building and be safe there, and then give us a few hours and things will be up and running. But we can't tell you ahead of time where the shelter is going to be.